Hey everyone. Hey.
We are live. It's that
Hello.
time of the week again. Oh, hold on, Belinda. You might need to close the second tab there.
Let me
Whoa.
plug something in.
There we go. Doctor Who there for a second.
We were just doing that to
Yeah.
wake everyone up and get your guys' attention. I was just saying, it is that time of the week again. Welcome to everyone, you lovely design cutters out there in the community.
Hello everyone.
We can see you're all leaving comments where you're from.
Colorado, Washington.
Yeah, we've got Jay just joined, Jane as well, Derek, Colleen, Angela, Pamela,
Edinburgh.
Fahima.
Yeah.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Leah as well. We know Leah.
Yeah, I'm really nice to be back for me as I've been away for a few weeks. Nice to be back.
It is. It's good
nice
to have
see
you back.
Yes,
and it is lovely to be joined by the super talented Belinda Kou. Welcome,
hey,
Belinda.
Hello. Hi, everybody. Hi, friends. I see so many people that I know here.
Oh,
it really means a lot to have
great.
you
We're going to have some fun today. What are you going to be sharing with us, Belinda?
So I'll be sharing a little bit about the work that I've done so far recently, and then I'll go into some of the side projects that have led me from starting out lettering just for fun to full-time freelance. So
cool.
I think it'll be fun. And then I'll be doing a fun little demo later too.
Awesome. I'm really excited about this.
I know, I've got Notepad at the ready taking notes.
Tom loves a note, don't you? He's like scribbling away.
Other than that, I'll do some hand lettering.
That's it. Yeah, you're like, check this out then. Well.
Amazing.
Cool. Well, yeah, please feel free to take it away, Belinda. Can't wait to see you.
Okay, so if you guys don't know me, hi, I'm Belinda. I am a Chicago-based lettering artist and illustrator. I love combining food illustrations with playful lettering to create dynamic pieces for myself and for brands. And I used to be a graphic designer and art director at an agency. It was more B2B stuff, and recently made the transition to full-time freelance in July. So It's pretty fresh, but it's been a very wild ride and very fun. So
and it's been really cool. I feel like I've been following your journey for a while, and I've just seen you growing and growing.
Yeah, we connected back in early this year, and that was when I was starting to think, maybe I'm gonna go full-time freelance. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll talk to Tom about it because he's really great at this marketing stuff. Yeah, it's been good.
No, you've done amazing things.
I am going to share my screen.
Cool.
I can do this. Technology and me are not that great.
Oh, there we go.
Right,
you did it. Awesome.
Yay, I did it. So here's some of the stuff that I've done.
So
I love drawing swirly, noodly things, combining illustrations into my pieces. Animated GIFs are fun to do, stuff like this. Little cute whimsical.
That's amazing.
So sweet.
Noodles and more animations. And sometimes I'll do time lapses, and that is my one tactile piece I've done. So I included that in there too. So yeah, that's some of my work.
It's incredible.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's beautiful.
Is it a fair thing to say, Belinda? I think you've definitely got your own style, which is amazing, and why you're breaking out. But I can see influences within that. So I'm getting a little bit of Lauren Hom maybe coming through. I'm getting a little bit of my mind has gone blank.
Do it.
Lettering Conference, Becca Clarkson. I'm getting.
Oh yes,
I
did the hangry piece that was at a workshop at our conference.
Oh, amazing!
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I can kind of see all these influences, but you've made it your own, and you have got that unique style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really fun and vibrant.
Thank you. I can't see you guys right now, so that's why I'm like trying to do so actually one thing I wanted to talk about was a little bit of the early days. So I'll take you guys through a quick overview of my journey, I guess.
Awesome.
So this is the very beginning of my Instagram.
Wow.
Some old stuff. And it's funny because, I like to do a lot of color. But when I first started, I really did not know how to use color. It was mostly just black and white and pencil. And if I ever ventured into color pencil, I was kind of like really timid about it. But this Instagram account was basically my first side project. And that's kind of what I wanted to focus on today, was talking about side projects and how great they are. And I started this Instagram account as a 100-day lettering challenge. And it was something that came out of basically a desire to find a creative outlet that I couldn't find at my job. Like I was doing a creative job, but with the B2B work and just being a graphic designer, it was just a lot of time spent on the computer. And there was a part of me that just really wanted to draw. So I kind of created that outlet for myself. And that was how 100 Days of Lettering was born.
I love it. And I'm guessing at that point, you weren't thinking about building an audience or anything like that. You were just doing it as a creative outlet for yourself.
Yes. And I decided to put it on a social media platform because I did want a little bit of accountability. Sure. I had tried doing this like several times on my own, and every time I felt like giving up, I just did. So I figured if I put it on Instagram and some of my close friends were following me, that would give me enough to feel like I should keep going. So cool. Yeah, definitely no intention to build an audience. Just do this for fun, have a place to collect all of my work, and feel like, hey, I've got proof that I'm drawing more, and it's just sort of my own safe space. So that's my 100 Days of Lettering, and then I was like pretty proud of finishing 100 pieces, so I made it into a book.
That's awesome.
It's just like a little way to celebrate. I was like, okay, this is my stuff. And you can kind of see like there moments of my food start popping in. And I also was not focusing on finding a voice or doing anything. It was literally just, let me practice my craft because I really want to do this lettering thing. And I don't know how to do that other than just to keep drawing. So that's what I did, which then led me to getting more. I guess I was building up a good habit of sharing regularly on Instagram at that point because it was 100 days of doing it. And it got a little addicting. So I decided, okay, let's do Inktober too, because that's only 30 days. And this is some of my early Inktober stuff.
And Belinda, had you been practicing and learning for a while before this? Because your early work is better than most. I did that recent post I shared of the likes of like Stefan Kuhns and Ian. Their early work was a lot worse than what we're seeing in your early work. So had you been lettering for a while before that point?
Like barely. This is my early work that I actually took photos of. Everything else is just little doodles on the corner of my sketchbooks. But I've always liked to draw. So drawing was always my thing. Even as a kid, I was always drawing. So that probably helped.
Yeah.
So that was that was my Inktober stuff. And then basically at this point I had started doing the Inktober stuff and getting a little bit more into Instagram, and it was like the beginning fledgling start of, Instagram is actually a platform not just to share my work privately, but something that I can share openly and then connect with people. So I started to meet more people on Instagram, got into homework, and participated in a lot of those challenges and met even more people through there. And that was when I felt like my style was starting to form. And I realized that when I'm drawing, the most excited I get is when I'm drawing food. Why not focus down on that? So I decided I was going to start another side project because I didn't want my Instagram to be filled with just challenges, I guess. I wanted something that was more of my own. And I actually drew back to my 100 Days of Lettering days and decided to build off of this piece that came out of it. I was like, this is a piece that I created when I was super drained one day and really didn't want to cook, felt super passionate about it, and created this piece. And I had a lot of fun doing it. So I thought, okay, well, let's make it into a series. And that became What's Not Cooking, which is a series where I letter all the ways to get out of cooking that run through my head at the end of the week. And through here, I wanted to practice not just lettering, but how can I do a phrase as opposed to just 1 to 2 words, work on composition, and then also learn how to take flat lay photos. So these are photos that I took and then Photoshopped together. Just kind of like leveling up on side projects.
Yeah. Have you made these scenes and then photographed it, or have you photo manipulated the various elements to frame them?
It's difficult to tell whether they're digital or not, isn't it? All of it.
Yes. So I guess I could jump straight into, would you guys like to see how I built out one of these?
Love to, yeah.
I would love to.
Yeah, I couldn't work it out either when I was looking at it, whether it's like some kind of mock-up or whether it's real or...
It's super cool.
Because it looks so surreal almost in terms of colorway and just
Let's pause for a second because I want to get the lovely people watching a little bit amped up here. So
let me close that.
Hit us with a yes in the comments, guys, if you want to see the process behind this lettering.
Yes, please. Kristen said instantly.
Looks hand done and then digitalized.
Yeah.
So this will be fun. Angela says, yeah, awesome. It is. That's what I mean. You've got such a unique style.
Looks so great.
Angela says,
thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Should I jump into back into my share screen thing?
Yeah. Yes. By the way, Belinda, there's always a little delay.
Oh,
so,
okay.
But whenever you say something, 10 seconds later, people are going to get it. That's why now everyone's like, yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. All right. It sounds like everyone's ready for this. Let's
okay. Let's share the screen again and go into the inception of screens. Okay. All right. So I did a quick little breakdown. What's not cooking behind the scenes? All right. So when I do these, I basically start out with a very rough sketch. This is one of my favorite pieces in this series. If you guys haven't heard of Costco, it's basically this giant warehouse that does bulk products. You buy everything in bulk. And they're known for having a ton of samples when it's like around lunchtime on the weekends. So I decided to play off of this because it has definitely been an occurrence many times in my life where I go there and I just eat all the samples and I don't eat much. So I was like, okay, let's do this. The phrase is, I think I'll just get my meal fix in Costco samples. And when I'm doing my sketch, I'm thinking, what are some different styles I can kind of play around with my letters? And then how do I mix that in with the food and just make it all fly and look energetic? So that's my sketch. And then I go into a refine lettering phase where I just focus on the lettering. And I just turn down my layer for my sketch. I just turn the opacity down lightly so that I can still see it. And then I just go through and refine the letters. Shout out to Ian Barnard's and Stephen Kunz's Grid Builder brush set. I use it all the time for these compositions. So that's kind of where you can see the grids behind there.
Sure.
And then I add color. And at this point, before I even started the series, I did try to come up with, I think it was like 5 different background colors for my color palette. And I try to keep it consistent across the board so that they can feel more cohesive as a series. So these colors are pretty like determined by then. Add some dimension to my letters, like highlights and shadows and maybe some 3D things. And then slowly add in my food. And then once I digitize that, I think some people had guessed it, I go and I create the flat lay. So I'll actually go and pick up props at the grocery store, which is a great excuse for me to eat more stuff. And then I lay it out. I've got colored paper. And these are taken on my phone, but I use a digital camera to take the pieces so that I can edit them better in Lightroom and brighten it up. And then I merge it in Photoshop.
Cool.
So you're photographing a white piece of paper and then you're photoshopping in your digital piece.
Yep. And it's as simple as adding it onto the white paper in Photoshop and then turning that layer to multiply and then just masking out around the edges so that, like the pretzels can look like they're overlapping.
Amazing.
Yeah. Cool. How long does each one of these take you?
So my first piece, I sat and overthought like crazy. That one probably took me like 15 hours to do the lettering and then I don't know, like 3-4 hours of struggle time for the photo.
Right.
But now my average is more 3 to 4 hours for the lettering piece and then a couple hours to take the photo and edit and merge it. So it's much faster now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
still
really quick.
Still though, that is, nearly a full day.
It is, but I mean the quality.
Oh yeah. Like I mean that's incredibly quick for what it is. But what frequency are you putting these out at now?
It used to be once a week. Now it's just whenever I'm free to do one of these. And I try to break it out into 3 days. So day 1 is sketching, maybe building it up. Day 2 is getting really finished with the artwork. Sometimes that might take 2 to 3 days because I'm doing it, at night after I'm done with everything else. And then I'll reserve another day just to do the photos.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And we've had some prominent letterers on this weekly hangout before. And a couple of things that have come up are, don't be generic in your wording, and come up with something that can be a bit original or funny, and B, actually present it in a more interesting, unique way. And I think you're nailing both. So
absolutely, it's very evocative, isn't it?
Hugely so.
Yeah.
Would you mind kind of elaborating on your thinking behind that and how you've seen it work out for you?
Sure. I'm going to close out of this window again. Okay. Yeah. Hi. I know it's weird because when I'm sharing the screen, I can't see your faces or anybody who's talking, and I feel like
we pretty much look like this the whole time.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one reason why I wanted to do a series like this. Was if you looked at my 100 Days of Lettering stuff, a lot of those were just like quotes from The Office or quotes from Lord of the Rings. Some like, you know, fun entertainment that I enjoyed. But I wanted to do something that was more like my own copy and my own stuff. So copywriting is definitely not my strong suit, but I really do love food, and I feel like that kind of like makes me more passionate about the stuff that I talk about. So yeah, I kind of just pulled from there, and me complaining about cooking is a pretty frequent occurrence in our household. So I'm like, why not just put a fun spin to it and make it a little bit more lighthearted, and all the non-food cooker people can relate to me. So yeah, that was one thing. And then if you're talking about the photography stuff, that one is just me wanting to practice how to do flat lays. And when I actually, this project came out of Lauren Ham's class, her Passion to Paid, and she has mentors there who give feedback. And I got some good feedback from the mentors at the time to kind of make my flat lays look like, basically put as much intention into building up my flat lays as I would with my drawing. At the time I was thinking, oh, it's just going to be, you know, on a table, like a white background or something, and I'm just going to throw in the objects there. But now I'm trying to more intentionally pick, if it's going to be a mostly red piece, let's have a red background that kind of complements that. And then the props that I pick, let's have that pick up from colors that I'm using in my drawing. Yeah. And that kind of makes it cohesive.
Nice.
That's smart. And now I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking that red with the yellow of the cheese.
Red with the yellow, it's really well. Yeah.
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 That's really cool. And it does stand out in a feed of quite generic lettering.
Yeah, it really does.
En masse happening out there. Your work is very distinct.
Yeah.
I think in the messaging and the framing and presentation.
Incredibly polished. Incredibly polished. It really is.
Thank you.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I like the explosion effect.
Yeah,
honestly,
it's good,
the
isn't it?
depth of that,
really
whether it's overlapping.
And it is, I think, with the noodle doodles, it really is noodly, you know, and like dynamic, and yeah, it's just fun, really fun.
Yes, it's basically doodle heaven.
It is doodle heaven, yeah, but on a very high level, high level doodles.
What would you say for anyone watching live right now or catching the replay, who's a letterer and they're not quite at that level yet, and maybe their work is a bit more generic and not quite as polished? What advice could you give them to try and level up?
I would definitely say to keep like churning out as much work as possible. So the 100 Days of Lettering for me was really good because I was just purely practicing for 100 days. Let's get into the habit of drawing more often. And let's not care too much about concept or level of polish, because I'm forced to, you know, share something every day. I can't take that time to, you know, noodle on my work too much. So that is a really good practice. And actually the 100 Days of Lettering for me was really good because it produced not great work, but nuggets of ideas that I could then take and turn into something like What's Not Cooking, because that's what I did. So I would definitely say do stuff like that. If you don't know what you're doing, or if you are trying to find your style and your voice, just keep churning out work. If you want to commit to a daily lettering practice, you can start out with like a week. I actually started out with 30 days. And after 30 days, I was like, I think I can do this for 100. Let's go for 100. So, those kind of challenges are always good.
Awesome.
Love it. And I believe today you're going to show us a quick demo as well.
Yeah, exciting.
Yes. This is the part of tech where I was like fiddling with my phone.
Yeah, and there's more top tips on your website as well, isn't there, in terms of the equipment you use and how you use it.
Gosh.
So that's worth having a look at as well.
I'm really not great at doing technology stuff. So
it's all good. Let me know whenever you want. Can we invite you?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
You can invite me, and then hopefully I won't have a crazy echo effect again.
if you
Tom,
do,
you're gonna love this. This demo has something to do with you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm
In a good way, I hope.
afraid.
It's a super important demo.
Okay, I'm going to hit invite then. If it echoes, you might have to put headphones in for one of them, or we'll figure it
I
out.
have it plugged in. Okay. So, and then Jesse was saying noodle doodles. You are correct. These are noodle doodles. I'm going to show you how to draw noodles.
Cool.
And you can see this is my broken lamp here. I gotta flip around my phone. Flip camera.
No,
So,
I recognize.
I know you've been looking for a new profile photo, Tom.
this is
I think
true.
that's
There we
pretty cool
go.
for you. Yes.
I
So
didn't
this is
expect this.
I know, guys. I kind of surprised Tom on this one, so it's all on me. If you think this is really weird, it was not their idea. Okay.
This is a first
So-
for the community hangouts, guys.
Yeah, I know. Double Tom.
If anyone wants to know how to draw noodles, there's a couple tips on how I do it. So one is when you're drawing your curve, you want to make them look like really windy, snaky, like S-curves. So I actually have a sketch here to guide me, but you just take your brush and you want to use your whole arm when you do this so that you have better control. I don't like that. I'm going to undo that. Let's make it look like it's coming out of the ramen.
I'm literally trying to fight the urge to crack up so hard.
I figured if I drew noodles around myself, like Tom, you should have some too.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be narcissistic, right?
So yeah, this is basically how I start out. I'm using the Studio ink brush, and I just draw right on top, and I don't worry about where it's covering Tom up. I'll mask that out later. So you have this, and then sometimes you can like add a little.
Where did you get this photo even?
That's one of ours. That's one of our brand photos,
no
I think. Pretty sure.
This
One of our
is
photo
me
shoots.
utilizing my my agency experience as a
Yeah.
graphic designer and art director. We do a lot of
You
Photoshop.
can find these things, right? Yeah. Go to the website, get the high-res version of it, take that off.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna erase this part because I don't really like how that is. So I just try to keep things as curvy as possible, and then some things that you can look out for is like this is wider and this is thinner. That makes it look a little bit more dynamic. And then I just lightly start putting in a ton of lines for the inside, and I just make it as windy as possible.
I got so distracted by my face, I forgot to focus your screen.
Oh, yeah.
Just let me. There we go.
It's even bigger now.
There we go. It's a beautiful photo of Tom's face.
So while you're drawing the lines, fun fact, when our photographer came and did a bunch of photos of me and the team, I was out in the main road outside our office while he took this photo, and people were driving past in vans, like honking and like shouting stuff at me, being like, why is the guy like pouting in the middle of a busy road? Like,
I think that's a testimony to a wonderful photographer, David Hampton's skills, that he got some quite decent photos out of it.
He did.
Yeah, you look supernatural in the photo.
Yeah.
Like you don't look like cars are honking at you at all. So I just do this for a while, and then eventually start adding in the color, like right here, and I'll like fill it up with like eggs and other things that you can find in ramen. Tom, do you like ramen?
I love ramen.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
great.
we're all we're foodies here as well.
Yeah, we are. In the office,
Yes.
we just talk about food constantly, pretty much, don't we? Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm insanely looking forward to our Christmas do, which is also like food-based as well.
Oh, yeah. Our Christmas menu, Belinda,
brilliant.
you'd love it.
You should give me what are some yummy items that you have on your Christmas menu?
Well, actually, most people have gone for steak-based food, haven't they? Like steaky stuff and
They have.
terrines and
It's pretty fancy at points. We've got some caviar and cured salmon to start.
Wow, caviar?
Yeah.
That's
It
a
is a
very
bit
nice
fancy.
party right there.
Got to look after the team here. It's our big annual.
It is. We do it like once a year, so you got to look after the team because they're brilliant and they deserve it.
Absolutely.
Huh? So
it already kind of gets depth just from the contours.
It really
it's like
does.
topography or something.
Yeah, and the key is to not keep, like, you don't want to have your lines perfectly parallel to each other. You want it to be sort of fluid and organic looking, and it kind of makes it look a little bit more interesting. And it's just fun. Like, I'm trying not to rotate my canvas, but I usually do.
Yeah.
I just know it's a little harder to follow when you rotate your canvas.
I'm still fighting the urge to download Procreate because I think all my productivity would go out the window. You get to do this for a job. I'm so jealous.
Yes. But, it did start out with, let me just, do Procreate for fun. And then it did start getting in the way of my productivity.
But you've kind of engineered another career for yourself, really, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. If you had asked me last year that I was going to do this full-time freelance, I would have laughed at you.
Yeah.
I love that though.
Because
awesome,
I just didn't
Imposter syndrome.
Hi, Sonia.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonia just joined us. Hey,
Thanks
Sonia.
for joining.
Sonia.
Yeah, Sonia.
I know people joining on in California it's super early over there. Ooh, fresh ginger and garlic. That sounds really
that does sound good. I was just reading that as well.
Yeah, everyone's making me hungry now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's like morning over here, but I think I'm ready for lunch. Let's see. Let's just do like another line right here. This is good. We'll do this. Okay.
Can I ask, how long were you in sort of your other career for?
So prior to this, I was at one agency for 6 years,
Okay.
6.5 years. And then before that, I was actually a teacher for a couple years, middle school science. It was for Teach for America, which is an organization that kind of helps to promote education in lower income schools. And then prior to that, I was in college for biopsychology, totally different
Wow.
from what I do now.
Yeah. So you kind of got a 7-year design itch to change career.
Yeah, and a lot of the skills I picked up for design were all at my job.
Yeah.
Like I worked with a very talented team of people, and they were always super generous in sharing what skills that they were learning, the latest updates in InDesign and Photoshop and how to do things. And I mean, those are definitely skills that I use now in my freelance, and I'm really thankful for that. So,
I think that does pay off so much. It's like anything when you surround yourself with people who are better than you are.
It does.
Yes,
and agency work's fantastically varied generally, isn't it? So you get to, you get a really wide skill set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in fact, some of the best freelancers who we have on this show have agency backgrounds.
Yeah, definitely. And some still work in agencies.
Yeah. And there's so much talk out there, like freelance is the only way. And it definitely isn't.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to, I thought it was good to do a little bit of both. Like, if I had done this first, the freelance, I would have been not doing a lot of the best practices that I picked up at my agency.
Sure.
For streamlining workflows and project management, learning how to communicate emails and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, best of both worlds. Now you're super professional, but you can also draw noodles.
Yeah.
I can also draw noodles. If anybody else wants me to doodle noodles on them, let me know. It's a good break from the work that you're doing during the day. And here I'm using the recoloring tool, which is really fun. You set a reference later for the noodle doodles, and then you go to the little
Can you say that 3 times fast?
I've tried to. It's hard. It's not easy to do that. So this kind of helps me to speed up my coloring, I think. I must have lost the recolor thing. Let's just do a few more of these.
Yeah, so I guess there's a takeaway there for anyone who's going to do sort of freelance work, that a lot of the agency skills out there are super useful in terms of how to be able to write a professional email and, project workflow, that kind of thing, project planning.
100%.
Yes. I mean, I think if you're doing full-time job that's in a creative field and you're thinking about freelancing, but you're not there yet, it's really good to keep that teachable mentality and just think like, what are skills that I'm doing here that I can, eventually take and translate to a freelance career, and learn from everybody who's around you. If you're surrounding yourself with people who are more talented than you, it's really great to just pick up on those skills. And like what I didn't realize is even if what they're doing may not necessarily be what you want to do as a full-time freelancer, they still might have skills that you can pick up on, like things like communication and how to give art direction or receive feedback and criticism. Things like that are all really helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. I'm going to try and say what Jessie put in the comments here. She has oodles of noodle doodles, but no poodles.
Nice.
Nailed it.
Okay, now try to say that 10 times fast.
Maybe later.
Maybe later. Okay, so
this is cool. Guys, while you're watching Belinda, I mean, first of all, if you have not yet, click the shiny green button below this live stream and check out her Instagram. But the lettering community is all about community. So feel free, if you want to put your own Instagram in the chat and link it up. I'd love for some of you guys to make friends and connect with each other. But yeah, everyone needs to go and support Belinda's work who's not familiar with it. I've been so distracted by the noodles, I kind of forgot I was underneath them.
And of course, if anyone has any questions, pop them in the ask a question down the bottom as well.
Let's see here. Let's get this sketch off. So I'm masking out around it.
That's
it.
it.
Like my favorite part is just
having on for the website.
Yeah, definitely going to have to go on our Instagram, I think.
Well, I'm going to add, do you have any favorite toppings for ramen? I'll do the eggs because those are always fun.
Okay.
I'm going to zoom in.
You got to get that in there.
Yes, you got to get the egg in. Like what kind of toppings are there for ramen?
I was going to say,
eggs,
if you give me some
corn,
options, like a menu.
Corn, bamboo, scallions. There's like those little
pickles. Those little pickles are really nice.
The little pickles. Okay. Sonia's saying egg and pork.
Yeah, pork.
Sonia is like my food mate. We share a lot of food love in common, like a lot of food that we love in common.
I'm feeling the pork and green onion. Sonia.
Pork and green onion, that's good. Let me find where I put my reference layer down. Did I just, yeah.
I think it gets to a certain level of expertise where you can comfortably do this on a live stream and not sweat it.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. No pressure.
This is my first time doing this on a live stream.
Really?
Really good.
Like, don't mess up too much, Belinda.
I'd say they're a pretty nice bunch watching live.
Yeah.
But there's something super therapeutic about watching other people do this. So hopefully you guys feel the same way with.
That is, we always kind of zone out when we have guests on these hangouts because we just get lost watching it.
There are some eggs around.
Nice.
That's such a cool little egg.
Really cool, isn't it? It is mesmerizing.
And I'm trying to keep the colors to more of like a blue, cool color scheme. This is eye dropped from Tom's Instagram, so that is at least close in color. And then let's do.
Sorry, we're going for like a fancy restaurant blue egg.
Yeah.
I
know, like would you want to eat a blue egg in real life?
Spill the beans about a fancy restaurant at Christmas.
Yeah.
You do wear a lot of blue.
Here.
Blue is the color. Blue's the best color.
I guess while I'm doing this, we could probably. How are we on time? Are we okay on time?
No, that's a good point. Can you multitask better than we can? Because I'm terrible at it. Can you answer questions, Andrea?
Yes, I can answer questions.
Amazing.
All right. Well, in that case, everyone check out below this live stream. It is Ask a Question. So if you click there, you can submit them. And I can see we've got 6 awesome questions already. So you can also upvote them. So we're going to start with the top voted ones. And the top voted one is Fahima, who asks, what made you decide that it was finally the right time to quit your day job and go full-time freelance?
Ooh. Hi, Fahima. Thanks so much for being here. That's a great question. So this happened for me back at the start of the year. And what ended up being, so I had kind of in the back of my mind, let's just keep doing this lettering thing and see what happens. There wasn't really like a great plan or anything. It was more, I want to do this for fun. And if people want to hire me for freelance every now and then outside of my day job, then great. But what ended up happening was I was doing so much of it that it was getting in the way of my other work. So I found myself thinking about it a lot while I was at my day job. And then I also have 2 young kids who are currently 4 and almost 2 next month. So they keep us super busy too. And like, I just couldn't juggle all of it. And my husband was seeing how stretched I was. So the idea of going full-time freelance actually was brought up by him. He was like, you know, would you be interested in doing that? My answer was, yeah, but probably not for a while because, you know, aren't you supposed to like be able to have enough clients where you can just kind of step into it? But he was like, if that's your reason, like you shouldn't let that hold you back. And if finances is sort of the worry, like I can cover it, which was really great of him to say. So once we took out those 2 things, what was left was really just my fear of failing at it. And I realized if that's my only thing holding me back, I should probably just do it. So one thing that we do at home is if you're going to make a big life change situation like that, think on it for like 3 months. And if you're still serious about it after that, do it. So I set a time. I had signed up for the Letter West conference at that point, and I was like, okay, that's about 3 months from now. And, you know, that's probably going to really power me up anyway. So maybe I'll just wait until then. And if I still feel really passionate about it, I'll tell my company. So that's how it happened.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
What's it done for your happiness? Because it sounds like you're so passionate about this.
Yeah, I have 0 regrets for doing this. I am actually, a part of me is like, why didn't I do this sooner? It's been really great. I mean, it's been really nice just to have more time to create for myself, draw more noodles, and take on more client work. And the balance has been like, I wouldn't have been able to take on as many clients as I have since going freelance if I had a job. So it's been really nice and definitely feeling really fulfilled.
And do you still do other side projects as well in case to kind of explore?
Yeah, my What's Not Cooking is still ongoing. And I do try to keep regular with my Instagram postings for just random things that might pop in my head. That I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to draw this. And I also have another project that I do every now and then, which is time-lapse videos for food-filled ampersands. Those have been really fun. So.
Cool. And by the sound of it, it's going quite well with the clients.
It's been going better than I expected. Like I went in with kind of low expectations. Just don't expect to get too many clients right away. You're not doing any outreach or anything like that. Just kind of slowly build up to it. But what ended up happening was, I guess clients find you a lot through Instagram these days. So I've been getting a lot of inquiries from Instagram.
It's awesome. So they just DM you and say, we have a project. Is that agencies who reach out on behalf of clients or the clients directly?
It's a mix of both. And what ends up happening, because I'll usually ask them when they send me emails, is they'll email me and I'll usually ask, how did you find me? Or they'll tell me in their email. And I would say 95% of the time they're all like, we found your work on Instagram. Awesome. And yeah, some are messaging or emailing me on behalf of an agency and some are direct. And I'm kind of just like, if I'm interested in the work and I think it might be a good portfolio piece or a good experience, I'm saying yes as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And my method is, I learn best through experience, is I'll just keep saying yes until I pick up a project and I'm like, I regret saying yes. And the next time I know not to say yes to that. So yeah, that's kind of my method right now.
I love that.
These galleons
we got blue pork.
We have.
Matt, do you want to take the next question?
Sure. So Kristen says, what suggestions would you give someone who has a 9-to-5 job but lettering is also a passion? How much time is necessary to devote when you're not working at your full-time job?
Let's see. Hi, Kristen. So let's see. I would say, what started out for me was I started doing those side projects and I kind of was so passionate about them that it wasn't too hard for me to make time for it. It's like when you're procrastinating on something because you're really interested in doing something else. For example, binge watching TV shows on Netflix. Like you just make time for it. It's not like, oh, it's such a chore, I need to watch this next episode. It's more like, oh my gosh, I think I need to go to bed, but maybe I should watch this next episode.
Is there a job? I haven't found that job yet, which just lets you binge watch on Netflix. I quite like that job.
Oh, I think so many of us would really like that job. We would make some good money off of it because you'd be really good at it. Yeah, so it's kind of like that same mentality with the work that you're doing for your lettering. Find that project or that thing that you want to do with your lettering that makes you so passionate about it that you just make time for it. Like, you know, you just want to. That's kind of what happened for me, at least.
Cool. So yeah, it's
hopefully
less
that answers your question.
Yeah, it's less about finding the hours and more about actually shutting down the iPad and stopping.
I guess if you're passionate about it, you're going to find the time because you do what you want to do, don't you?
Yeah. Like if you find it that it's a chore to work on a side project, that's probably not the right side project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's totally okay to just drop it and do something else because it's for fun. You know, the purpose of it should be for your creative fulfillment and not to like get client work or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that will eventually follow.
Colleen asks, what was the best thing you figured out to make your flat lay photos go easier? So was there one breakthrough tip?
Best thing I figured out from my flat lay photos. One was a good investment. I'm trying to draw the pork right now. I think that's what the pork looks like. One was
on the pork. It's really cool.
And like there, you know, the pork that I get in my ramen, I think it's kind of like it's got like a little bit of that texture, right? It almost looks a little bit like the noodles. We're just gonna peek that in there. So yes, for flat lay photography, having a tripod is super helpful. I didn't have one at first though, but once I got one, it made things tremendously easier because I can just set it up where it's stuck there and use a remote even, and then just work my props around. Taking a billion photos, like each time I do a mock-up for my What's Not Cooking, I don't just take like 5 photos. I'd probably take up to 100. And using Lightroom really helped to speed up the editing process because you can just quickly toggle through all of the photos and select which ones are good. Those are all super helpful.
Have you got like a consistent lighting setup that you use every time? Like, you just leave the lights, or do you vary it, or?
I always set it up in the same spot in my house, which is my living room. And I always think my behind the scenes photos are funny because if you zoom out, you see like a billion kids' toys around the area, and my house is like a hot mess. But yeah, I use my window that's in my living room. It gets the best lighting.
Nice.
And there, like we have the blinds that help to diffuse the light, so it makes the shadows a little bit softer.
Interesting. So you're using the window as a main light source?
Yep, window as the main lighting source.
Cool.
Sometimes that does mean I have to take my photos as soon as I know that it's a nice day outside. I'll look at my weather app and I'm like, okay, tomorrow's a sunny day. Take my.
Do you have like a reflector to knock some light back in, or do you have like fill-in light from the other lights, that kind of thing?
I have foam boards, very DIY.
Cool.
So I just got some foam boards and I kind of reflect it so that the shadows aren't as harsh.
Cool.
And a lot of time spent on Google for lighting setups because lighting is not my main I kind of just picked up that skill on my own. So.
Fahima's posted some fantastic questions actually. So she asks, have you found that based on the food related lettering work you've been posting that those are the kind of paid works you've been hired for?
Oh, that reminds me, should I switch my screen? I do have actually a couple of examples.
Great.
That'd be amazing.
That's a great question. You guys are sending so many good questions.
You really are. Wow. And we've talked about this before on these Hangouts in terms of putting out the kind of work that you want to attract.
We have, yeah. And also in terms of just, enjoying it, basically, and the work will come, which we've seen like many times, really. People aren't just trying, they're doing what they love, and people are seeing that and they're getting work from it, which is brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something for me too. Like I hear that all the time, just put out the work that you want to get hired for. So here's my side project on the left. And then shortly after, I started that side project in May, and it was a couple months later I got an email from Otogi, which is a ramen brand company in Korea. And they wanted me to do some social media posts for them. And I was super excited about that because I was like, noodles. They prefer me to draw noodles. This is perfect. I didn't think that would happen. This is great.
That's very cool.
So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's one example.
And how do you think they're finding you, Belinda? Hashtag?
Through Instagram. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I think it might be through hashtags. That part I'm actually not entirely sure.
I'm just curious. Like, is it someone at their company is going through the lettering hashtag, or have you done like hashtag ramen lettering? And they're like, yes, we found someone.
Yeah, I try to include some food-related hashtags in the foods that I'm drawing. So ramen for sure, or noodles, and then lettering. But in terms of how they're finding me on Instagram, I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. That's a tasty one.
Yeah, it really is.
Yes.
Isn't it?
These are some sped up videos of time lapses I've done. And, I did this tasty N, and a soju company reached out to me to do basically the same type of time lapse, but for their soju brand, which is Sunhari. So that was a lot of fun. And then here's the last one. This was a What's Not Cooking project that they had. This is a specific piece from What's Not Cooking that they had actually referenced in their art direction. And it was a super quick turnaround. It was like they reached out on Friday. They needed it by Wednesday. And then here's on the right is this piece. It's going to be in a editorial magazine in France. So it was also my first time lettering in French.
Cool.
Which was really interesting to figure out type hierarchy. But
I just love how something so creative is also so commercial as well.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Same here. But yeah, so these are
don't tell anyone just how creative and fun this is, because I'm making money as well.
I know, it's amazing.
And to be honest, we do this over and over again because with Ian Barnard, I don't know if you know this, Belinda, we're getting him to our office to do a mural on the wall.
Oh, awesome.
And when we started giving him the brief for that, of course, we went to his Instagram and went, we love that kind of lettering and that kind of lettering.
Yeah.
Same thing. He got hired by Speedo and they went on his feed and went, we want that exact style where the words fit around an object and do that for us. So I think it makes the client's life easier when they can reference something you've already done.
Yes, definitely. And it even makes our lives easier too, because if a client is referencing my work directly, especially if it's a passion project like my What's Not Cooking, I already know, okay, this is how long it takes for me to do this kind of style. I can definitely do it. I've been in that mindset already. So like I know that I can confidently execute this too, because I've done it like 10 other times.
Yeah. And when the client says, how long does it take you? You can say probably 75 hours.
Like 25 to 50 hours.
A week.
Yeah. Always longer than you think. Yeah, that's going to be a really awesome mural in your place, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
I think
Ian's work is awesome.
Ian Barnard and James Lewis should be coming down to do.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, they're both so talented.
They really are, yeah.
And if you were UK based, we'd love to have you around too.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so cool. I can draw noodles on your wall. Do you guys have a lunchroom or a place to eat?
Awesome, we do, yeah.
You can draw noodles on my actual face on the record today.
Yes, totally. I'm going to exit out of that. I will finish up that piece later.
Really, really cool though.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Thank you so much for sharing. I think we might have a couple of other questions.
The film
as well.
was quite good.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So it says, Fahima, again, what scares you the most having gone freelance, and how do you fight work through your fears?
That's a great question.
Yeah, it really is.
That's good. So definitely the biggest fear for me when going freelance, and still is that I would fail at it, which I guess for me would be, oh, no one's hiring me at all, ever, to do work for them. But I mean, I figured if that's my only fear, I should definitely challenge myself to fight through it by just constantly producing work. I mean, I'm doing this partly for my own creative fulfillment. So if someone's not going to hire me for it, I'm just going to keep doing it. And having those side projects really help, because there's always something that I can kind of step back on and do instead of worrying about client work. So that's been good for me.
Do you find the fears gone down?
Yeah. I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you find the fears gone down the longer you've been doing it for?
Well, I mean, I've only been doing it since July full time. So yeah, I mean, it's
I
since
can't
then
believe
it's
that.
been really great. Like I wasn't expecting to get so much client work. I was expecting like, oh, maybe like 1 or 2 before the end of the year. And I've been getting more than that. So that's already been exceeding my expectations. And
Amazing.
I would say my fear's been going down. Just doing it, I think, helps to combat it for sure.
You're incredibly talented, but as Matt alluded to,
sure.
I think it's also surprisingly commercial and
really commercial.
Case in point, as you were showing me there, I recently spoke in Belfast, and one of the talks was from a gin company, and they had a really cool brand. And I'm looking at that, being like, I kind of want to put you in touch with them, and you know, maybe there could be something there. So
yes, please. I would love to work for more like alcohol type companies. I think
properly commercial work though, really is.
Pay you in gin.
But
the fact that brands are popping in my head when I see your work, I think is awesome.
That's great.
That's really cool. I think it was Jesse asked about the definition of what B2B work is, and it's business to business. You get B2C, which is business to customer. B2B can also be Belinda to business, in Belinda's case.
Yeah.
Is that direct channel?
That is, yeah.
Nice.
Belinda, that was so fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing.
It was absolutely brilliant, and your work's pretty inspirational, really. And there's such a short amount of time. That's incredible. Incredible story.
We'd love to have you back at some point if you're
absolutely.
up for that.
Sure. Yeah.
And we don't say that to everyone.
No, we don't.
give it a few months, or a bit of time. I'll have more experience. I can share more then.
Amazing.
Love it. And obviously, I'm going to be DMing you to be like, "Where's my noodle face at?"
That's it. Yeah.
On it. I will do that today. I'm almost done. So.
That cracked me up, and thank you so much. Can't wait to share it and tag you up and stuff.
Thanks everyone for being here.
Yeah,
thank you, Belinda.
I will look at more of these comments later too. I don't know how you guys keep track of all these comments.
Awesome.
I know they're an active bunch, aren't they?
Yeah,
I know it's amazing. That's great. Yeah, thank you guys for being here so much.
Of course, look at all the love in the comments. Thank you everyone for showing up.
Yeah, show some love.
Thanks, Leah. She's tuning in from midnight. Like it's like after midnight. And
good effort, Leah. Leah's awesome as well.
Thank you, Belinda.
Everyone go check out Belinda's Instagram. It's the green button below this live stream. But thank you for being with us. Our lovely design cutters. You guys are the best. We appreciate you so much.
Guys.
Thank you for being here.
This time next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye, Belinda.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
See you, Belinda.
Bye.